The following CBC special presentation is available with described video.
The land we are broadcasting from is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples.
My most recent novel, You've Changed, follows a husband and wife as they grow apart. Watching their marriage slacken makes me grateful for a different kind of companionship. I'm grateful for the companionship of books. Like friends, some books are popular and show you a good time. Others are moody and enigmatic. Some book friends are fashionable and chatty. Others wear no makeup and speak bluntly. Occasionally, a friendship with a book deepens into love. Prizes like this one introduce us to Canadian books we can fall in love with. My name is Ian Williams, and I am an author.
I write to illuminate what connects us all. Stories do that. Stories don't exist unless they are shared, just like life. I'm Anne-Marie MacDonald, and I am an author.
I was 15 when I first read Great Expectations. Charles Dickens made me want to be a novelist. I was 26 when my first novel was published. My 16th novel was published this month. I've been writing novels for 60 years. My name is John Irving. I am an author. Welcome to the 2025 Giller Prize.
From Toronto, it's the 2025 Giller Prize. Tonight, we celebrate the very best in Canadian literature as the author of one of these 5 extraordinary books will walk away with the $100,000 Giller Prize. We Love You, Bunny, a darkly hilarious and original novel by Mona Awad. The Tiger and the Cosmonaut, a look at the Canadian immigrant experience by Eddy Boudel Tan. The Paris Express, a suspenseful historical novel told in real time by Oscar nominee Emma Donoghue. The Life Cycle of the Common Octopus, a meditation on identity and memory from first-time novelist Emma Knight. Pick a Color, the debut novel from 2020 Giller Prize winning author Souvankham Thammavongsa. Find out who will take home the $100,000 Giller Prize, one of the biggest literary prizes in the world. And now, please welcome your host for the 2025 Giller Prize, Rick Mercer.
Thank you. Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you for that kind welcome. Welcome to the Giller Prize. Proudly sponsored by the Giller Prize. Tonight, we are going to celebrate the best in Canadian fiction. Canadian fiction that tells our stories to one another and our stories to the world. This is, hands down, the most exciting things to happen in Toronto in easily 2 weeks. I've hosted this show a couple of times now, and I got to tell you, it's one of my favorite nights of the year. And you know why? While many award shows will give out a fancy trophy, which is lovely, and we do that. But what is really lovely is the Giller Prize comes with a fancy check. A spectacular check for $100,000. That's double what Trey Savage made this year, and he pitched 3 games in the World Series. Of course, that is the dream of many a young major leaguer, that someday, if the stars align, they could earn the same as a Canadian author. Winning the Giller Prize is life-changing for many authors, and not just because of the money. Because winning this prize leads to an astronomical increase in book sales. In the world of publishing, it's known as the Giller effect. In fact, everyone here well knows there are only two things that can guarantee massive book sales in Canada. That sticker on the cover that says winner of the Giller Prize, or the words written by Jordan Peterson. It's funny because it's true. Tonight we are broadcasting on CBC Radio, CBC Television, and CBC Gym. And in the room tonight we have an incredible live audience. In fact, everywhere I look, I see people who love CBC Radio, CBC Television, and CBC Gym. Yes. Oh my goodness, I see media personalities, I see ex-politicians and the best of the literary community. When I look around this crowd, and I include myself in this, I can't help but think, in any kind of calamity, nobody in this room will be of any help whatsoever. Nobody has ever looked at me and said, "Thank God you're here. Did you bring your tools?" We are fourth responders at best. But I tell you, if for some reason someone is in a desperate need of a pithy comment, tables 1 through 17 is the place to go. Now, personally, my reason for loving the Giller Prize is simple. More than anything, I love a good book. There's nothing better than a good book. And a good book is more than just a book. A good book can be a good friend, can be a doctor, can be a therapist, it can be a great escape. And a good book can make you jump out of your seat in joy or in fear. A good book can make you stay up way too late. A good book can be a great work of art or delicious trash, and it's fine to love both. Good books are written by good authors, and what they do is incredibly difficult. The attention to detail is so important. For centuries, authors have struggled to find the exact right word to convey exactly what they mean to say, because authors know changing just one word after the fact can change the meaning of the piece entirely. And of course, lately, anthem singers are doing that too. We have 5 nominees for the big prize this evening, and I am pleased to report that again this year, every nominee is Canadian, and every book has been written by an actual human being. Now, during tonight's broadcast, we will welcome each author to the stage. 5 writers at the top of their game competing for Canada's richest literary prize for fiction. And believe me, it is not easy to get on this stage. Or at least that's what security has assured me this year. And now let's meet our first nominated author of the evening. An author who just happens to be a first-time novelist, a debut novel that landed her smack dab on the New York Times bestseller list. How did she do it? Well, before trying her hand at fiction, she wrote 2 cookbooks, which, as many of you know, that's the normal way things work. It's the standard progression. Please welcome the author of The Life Cycle of the Common Octopus, Emma Knight.
What does it mean to come of age? In most of nature, maturity means reproductive readiness. For an octopus, it's the beginning of the end. The life cycle of the common octopus is about humans, though, characters on the edge of adulthood, testing the boundaries of their new independence, falling in love or lust for the first time, and seeing the people they come from in a new light. It's the story of a young woman's journey to uncover a family secret, which takes her from Toronto to Edinburgh to the east coast of Scotland. It's also an exploration of how children carry the unlived lives of their parents, of the many ways to mother, and of the generational work in progress that is female self-determination.
This is a pen holder that my eldest daughter, Esme, who's 7, made for me. It's also a really good procrastination tool because the holes are pretty uneven, and in order to get pens to stand up in it, you really have to balance them carefully. So I like to play with it while I'm thinking things through. My name is Emma Knight. My book is The Life Cycle of the Common Octopus, and I live in Toronto. Having 2 little girls at home means that sometimes working from home can be challenging. And when I need to get out of the house and work in another place, I come to the Toronto Reference Library. There's just something really calming and inspiring about being in this building filled with books. And I mean, just look at it. What a place to work. This is where my people are. The Life Cycle of the Common Octopus took 5 years to write, and during that time, my husband Anthony and I had 2 girls. We also got a puppy and moved house. I like to write longhand, especially for first drafts, because I find that if I'm typing, it's too easy to censor myself and just backspace halfway through a sentence. I have like a whole set of icons that I use to tell myself when I'm going back through my notes what exactly they mean. Sometimes when I'm stuck, it helps to use cue cards to visualize the narrative. I like to think of it in terms of architecture and to picture it as a building that needs to stand. I'm much happier at the sentence level. I find it a lot harder to actually make sure that the novel as a whole works. And that's where these cue cards come in handy. I also love to do timelines to make sure that there is one clear source of truth. That's critical. Some of the books that I like having in the same room with me while I work, just to kind of cheer me on, are my great-grandmother's copy of Little Women. So Frida Flood was my mom's grandmother, and she taught my mother to love books. And it was my mother who taught me to love books. And then, of course, my mom, Colleen Flood, is a poet, and having her collection of poetry, Bonding with Gravity, close by is very inspiring for me. It reminds me of the women who made me who I am.
Our second author has been recognized with many major awards and honors for her previous works, including being on the 2016 Giller Prize shortlist. 2 of her novels are currently in pre-production for film, and in a recent interview, Margaret Atwood named this writer as her literary heir, which is high praise, but does not get you in the will. Her latest work has been called an original and darkly hilarious romp, and who doesn't pine for one of those on occasion? To tell us more about We Love You, Bunny, please welcome Mona Awad.
I'm a huge fan, thank you. We Love You, Bunny is a prequel, a sequel, and a standalone follow-up to my novel, Bunny. Bunny was my love letter to the outsider and to the experience of art making. Frankenstein by way of Heathers, We Love You, Bunny goes deeper down the rabbit hole, exploring the pain of unbelonging, the mystery of creation, and the transformative power of love, friendship, and art. Like all my books, it uses the surreal to express the profound relationship between loneliness and the imagination, and how deeply our fictions reveal us. It also features a bunny boy, named after a Canadian allergy medication.
I love going for walks and looking for bunnies. It's probably my very favorite thing to do. And every time I see a bunny, it still feels magical. It still feels like a good omen for the creative process. My name is Mona Awad, and I'm the author of the novel We Love You, Bunny, and I live in Boston. My favorite fairy tale writer is probably Hans Christian Andersen. I love how those stories can be read as deeply autobiographical because they are surreal and because I think they express a lot of universal longings and fears. They continue to resonate with readers even now. Walking is a huge part of my creative process. Often I'll wake up, I'll write for a few hours, and then I will go for a walk. My walks are usually very generative. That's where a lot of the ideas come to me because I live close to the water. I'll go for walks along the water. Sometimes I'll go to an area here called the Seaport, which is also very close to the water. I seem to really love water, and it often shows up in my work, so I feel very bonded to it. There's a soldier from a memorial on Castle Island here in Boston, and I always go visit the soldier and talk to the soldier. It feels very Hans Christian Andersen to me. He's become a very important part of my creative process, just talking to the soldier. I have a lot of fan art that readers have made and given to me at various events all across the country. I really treasure everything that is given to me, and it just reinforces for me that reading is truly a creative act. And one of the things that has just astounded me about Bunny is to what degree the story seems to be really generative for readers. They go off and they find their own meaning in the story, and then they make their own art out of the story, and they're continually expanding the universe of it in ways that are just really exciting and beautiful to see.
Coming up, we'll meet the other finalists and find out who's taking home $100,000 when the 2025 Giller Prize returns here on CBC.
I prefer paperbacks because I'm quite a messy reader, and if you're going to get, pizza marks on it, probably better for it to be a paperback.
Hardcover when possible.
I think paperback, it's just more portable.
Hardcover because I like to work on my muscles.
I use photographs of my kids as bookmarks. It gives me that little tender surge.
Dog-eared because I like people to know that I was there first.
Bookmark.
Dog-eared.
Probably a bookmark, although I tend to dog-ear my pages too.
Welcome back to the Giller Prize. Maybe it's because I've hosted the Gillers many times, but not a day goes by that someone doesn't come up to me either on the street or the subway and they say, "Rick, how does the jury for the Giller Prize work?" And let me tell you, being on the jury for the Giller Prize is a lot of work. The numbers are staggering. The jury must discuss and consider over 100 books. Think about that. 100 books. I mean, if the average book takes 4 or 5 hours to read, we are looking at a major commitment. The only thing I do 100 times a year takes 6 minutes to finish tops. I can't help it, I love a sandwich. So hats off to our Giller jury. I salute you, but I do not envy you. I would rather be on a jury in a court of law. The stakes are much lower. Please put your hands together and join a grateful nation in thanking jury members Dion Irving, Logan Taylor, and Deepa Rajagopalan. Now, our third author we will meet tonight is a Vancouverite who has produced 3 novels, all of which have been critically acclaimed around the world. To give us some insight about his latest work, The Tiger and the Cosmonaut, here is Eddy Boudel Tan.
The Tiger and the Cosmonaut is about a lonely town in BC called Wilhelm, where the police station looks more like a church, and video cameras are hidden in the rooms of the Bellwether Motel. Here, the locals don't go into the woods at night. This book is also about a family, one that has been pulled apart over the years. When their elderly father has gone missing, Casper and his siblings are forced to come together to confront everything they've been running from since they were young. What follows is an examination of how society exploits the fears and insecurities of immigrants, and what happens when the members of one family decide they've had enough. Whenever I'm in need of inspiration, I just head out the door. I'm very lucky to live where I live, in the West End neighborhood of Vancouver. So whenever I need to recharge, I just head to the beach, go for a stroll along the seawall, or hit up the trails. It's Eddy Boudel Tan here, all the way from beautiful Vancouver, and I'm the author of The Tiger and the Cosmonaut. The Tiger and the Cosmonaut centers on Chinese-Canadian families like mine, and it includes descriptions of what previous generations have had to endure coming to this land of promise. I did a lot of research on this topic, including at places like the Chinatown Storytelling Center and the Chinese-Canadian Museum right here in Vancouver's Chinatown. Most of The Tiger and the Cosmonaut takes place in a small, isolated town in BC called Wilhelm, but you won't be able to find it on a map because it came from my imagination. People often ask me if Wilhelm was inspired by a real town in BC, whether it be Nelson or Merritt or Gibson's. And the truth is, it's all of them. I wanted to create a place that could be any and every small town in British Columbia. When I'm not writing, I love to spend time with my people. My husband, my family, my friends. We go to the theater. I love giving standing ovations. We dine out at interesting restaurants. We peruse art galleries. One of my favorite local bookstores here in Vancouver is called Narungji on Granville Island. It is this beautiful space in the market that offers a meticulously curated selection of globally minded books, truly beautiful books that I don't often find anywhere else.
When it comes to the written word, our fourth author can write them all. She's taking all the genres and picking them off one by one. She's the author of 4 books of poetry, and her anthology of short stories won the 2020 Giller Prize. Tonight, she's looking for a repeat. To tell us about her first novel, Pick a Color, please welcome Souvankham Thammavongsa.
In literature, when we see someone think on the page, it is often someone who is a writer, an artist, or a professor. A nail salon worker on an ordinary day does this too. Pick a Color is a novel that takes such a figure so often seen as sad or just a prop, voiceless on the sidelines, and places her at its center. In my novel, such a figure is all voice. She is confident, warm, and has an acidic wit. She also has a missing finger, and she used to be a boxer. And we have her here with just one voice, one room, one day.
Every time I write a book, I buy a shoe. I have 6 books, so I have 6 shoes. Hello, my name is Souvankham Thammavongsa, and I wrote a novel called Pick a Color. I live in Toronto. Something very telling about Toronto are pigeons. I spent hours and hours looking at them, trying to tell each of them apart. But, it was hard because look how they run away from me. There's no such thing as inspiration. I think inspiration and writer's block is a scam. I make it a habit. I I sit at my desk at 9 and I stay here until 5. For my novel, Pick a Color, I trained for 1.5 years as a boxer. The person who would be most happiest if I won is this person. That's me when I was 6 years old. I didn't know it was picture day and wore a green jogging suit. These days, I'm not as brave as I was when I was a kid. And when I think of this picture and this person, I think about how hard she worked and how far she'd come. And I think she would be most happiest. I keep my books, the ones that I wrote, by the entrance of my home because people who come to visit, I like to send them off with a book.
Coming up, we'll find out who is going home with $100,000. Plus, we'll meet the winners of this year's Giller Mantella Scholarship when the 2025 Giller Prize continues here on CBC.
Well, it really depends on the short story. Sometimes short stories can feel so epic, but ultimately I just want a world that I can inhabit for a while.
Epic novels.
Both. Short stories because I write them.
I try to ignore reviews, but I can't help but read reviews.
Ignore. Have my friends read the reviews, and then if they're good, read the reviews.
Ignore reviews for sure.
I've read every review written about me because it gives me a feeling of control, to know what they're saying. And, sometimes they're right.
It has been a banner year for Canadian authors, not just here at home, but internationally. 2 of the most prestigious international literary awards were won by Canadians this year, and both are incredible reads. Michael Crummy won the Dublin Literary Award for his book, The Adversary. And David Souloy won the Booker Prize for his novel, Flesh. But as we know, great novelists don't just appear overnight. You have to start somewhere, which brings us to one of the most exciting developments in the Giller world, the Mantella Scholarship. Each year, $10,000 is awarded to 3 young writers to continue their studies in English literature, writing, or creative writing. How about a round of applause for 2 great patrons of the arts, Robert and Sylvia Mantella. And congratulations to this year's winners, Grace Liu, and with us here tonight, Lauren Tran and Maisha Dyer. And now, we have just one more author to meet before we start the bingo. She is an Oscar-nominated screenwriter, a novelist, and a playwright who is bringing us her 16th book. Her earlier works have been nominated for some of the world's most prestigious awards, including the Giller, the Man Booker, and the Dublin Literary Award. The Paris Express takes place over one day in 1895. But to avoid spoilers, I'm not telling you which day. Instead, I will invite the author to tell us all about it. Please welcome Emma Donoghue.
The Paris Express is about a train journey, so I made it like a train journey. More than 30 characters confined in 8 carriages as the Express cuts across 326 kilometres of northern France in just 7.5 hours. My cast ranges from coffee sellers to artists to members of Parliament, from Cambodia to Pennsylvania to Ireland, and I aimed to include all human life from birth to death, including one 3-minute sex scene. Because the Paris Express explores the pleasures and horrors of speed, tech, and capitalism, I think of it as a novel of 2025 as much as 1895.
My kids have occasionally asked what I wrote before they came along, because in the roughly 22 years since they arrived, everything I've written has kids in it somewhere.
I'm Emma Donoghue, and my novel is The Paris Express. I spent my first 20 years in Ireland, the next 8 in England, and the next 28 in Canada, where I live in London, Ontario. And along the way, I've spent 1 year in America and 3.5 in France. So I've done a lot of transiting, not just between countries, but also between centuries in the setting of my work, which ranges from medieval to futuristic, and also between genres. I write fiction and theatre, and I write for the screen. This would be fairly typical footage of me at work, just about anywhere. Right now I'm at a GO station, sitting outside the toilets, squinting in concentration at the screen.
Sometimes I write at my treadmill desk.
I write on my front porch. I write a lot in my living room. If I get somewhere early, I write in my parked car. I write while waiting for buses.
Where I go most regularly for inspiration is the past. I write a lot of fact-based historical fiction, and the Paris Express would be fairly typical in coming from fact. This is the photograph that I spotted in 2022 when we were going to spend a year in Montparnasse in Paris. When I saw this crazy image of this train dangling, I thought, that's my next novel. Like all my historical fiction, the Paris Express absolutely depends on the invaluable scholarship. So some of the books I would have sought out would include Paris 1900 and 1914, full of great photos, some really specialist works, Poor and Pregnant in Paris, a book about the terrorists of the 1890s. Here's an early classic, Lesbian Paris 1890 to 1914. I deliberately avoid having special rituals or habits for writing, because if, say, like there's a bit of decor that I love, but if I needed to write at my special typewriter, then I couldn't write on all the days of the year when I'm away from it. So instead, I cultivate a very sort of workmanlike attitude of, as long as I have my computer, anywhere at all in the world, I can flip it open and dive back into my writing life.
I need a private nook. It just always feels dangerous and vulnerable to write. I can't have people watching.
Definitely private nook.
I don't really care where I am when I'm writing, because, I'm in my computer. It's a Narnia experience of jumping to the wardrobe.
Public space if I don't think I have it in me. Private nook if I know exactly what I want to write.
Private nook, I don't like any distractions from other people.
Early riser with a coffee.
I think I'm naturally a night owl, but having had a family, I've had to do my writing before dinner.
Night owl, because I could get distracted just looking at the sun.
Find out who is taking home $100,000. The winner of the 2025 Giller Prize, coming up next on CBC.
Doris Giller was an award-winning journalist and literary editor in Toronto and Montreal. Her husband, business leader and philanthropist Jack Rabinovich, founded the Giller Prize in honor of his wife's love of literature. Daughter Ilana has overseen the Giller Prize for the past 23 years, and in that time it has grown from a $50,000 purse to a $100,000 purse, plus $10,000 for each finalist. The Canadian literary community could not have a better champion. Please welcome to present the 2025 Giller Prize, Jury Chair Dion Irving and Ilana Rabinovich.
Hello, and thank you all for joining us tonight for an incredible celebration of Canadian literature. This evening is all about honoring the finalists and celebrating tonight's winner, and recognizing the breadth and strength of Canadian literature. I'd also like to thank everyone who gave us their generous financial support and those who gave us their steadfast moral support. We would not be here without you. These are times when the arts really need your help more than ever. And to all of you listening and watching at home, thank you for your support of Canadian literature. When my father Jack stood on the stage, he always reminded us that for the price of a meal in this town, you can buy all the books. And then he would, of course, add, so buy the books and eat at home. Many thanks to all of you who bought the books, ate at home, and supported Canadian writers. Thank you.
It all comes down to this. This is the moment that changes the life of an author forever. It has been an honor to chair the jury, but most importantly, to see that Canadian literature flourishes in Canada and around the world. The winner of the 2025 Giller Prize is
Souvankham Thammavongsa.
This or not?
No, it's too heavy. I never knew that I could make more money than a baseball player. I would like to thank the jury, Dion Irving, Logan Paler, and Deepa Rajagopalin. I would like to thank the writers who did this with me, Emma Knight, Emma Donoghue, Mona Awad, and Eddy Boudel Tan. When I was a kid, I didn't know how to become a writer. My mom and dad are not writers. I printed and bound my own books, sold them out of my school knapsack, on front lawns, at farmers markets, and at small press fairs. Thank you to anyone who has ever bought a book that I made. I know that you care about me. You know you care what will happen to me after the lights go off, that I have somebody who loves me, and that I know my life's work has meaning. Thank you to Sarah Boland for encouraging me to write this thing called a novel. To Kiera Kent, my editor at Knopf Canada, where they pronounce the K. For taking this on and all that it comes with. Lisa Meyer, Emma Herdman, Jean Garnett, Angelique Tran Van Sang. To my publicist, Liz Garriga, Anna Masardi, Ashley Dunn. To my friends, Vin Wen, Gokbaru Sarp, Taniel Diz, Doretta Lau. To Martha Kanya Forstner, for seeing the choices that I made and the risks that I took, and for standing by me. To Kirsten Cochran, From the first word to the last word in this book, it would not exist as it does without you. To my formidable agent, Sarah Chalfant, if I have power or courage, it is really yours. And to my mom and dad, I'm sorry I didn't tell you about this. And that you're finding out about it on the 6 o'clock news. Hi. To my mom and dad, for this wild thing that we call life. And to Elena Rabinovich and the Giller Prize for celebrating Canadian authors, Canadian books, and Canadian publishers. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Want to hold it? Thank you for joining us. Congratulations to all the winners. Such an honor to be here with you tonight. Remember, Canadian Books makes a great holiday gift. We'll see you next year.